What's going on, guys? Proof here, and today I'm going to show you my updated G-Spikes Rising Miracle deck profile. And this is the deck that I use at teams, and it's also the deck that I use in the video versus LeFunkDoctor that you may have seen the last couple days. And
hashtag not how to not play suckers.
And the way this is going to work is I'm going to go through the deck as it was when I played it at teams, and then I'm going to talk about some changes that I plan on making to the deck for the upcoming meta, especially to accommodate for the Kagero stuff coming out. So without further ado, Badooby-doo.
Oh jeez, I knew that was coming.
I'll start with the grade zeros. And so we have 4 Liar Lips, which is the Rising Miracle crit to push into the soul, draw a card, and gives my Vanguard +5. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention that this is going to be a 2-parter, in that the first part here is going to be the deck itself with some minor stuff that I talk about for people that mainly want the deck list. And then part 2 is going to be me going over some of the more advanced tactics for the deck. And so...
Correct, I did it first.
Whatever. I know order I want to release it. Yeah.
Wow, you a jerk.
No, I'm not. Kinda. But no, I'm not. And so, Liar Lips here, definitely won't play 4 of in this version of the deck because on 1 count it feeds soul, and 2, it helps you get another attack in for your Miracle Ace turn when it comes up. And then, this may look a little bit weird, but I have 6 draw triggers when I played this at teams. And the reason I did this was because the deck being a combo deck, you want to have as many pieces of the combo in your hand. And so since you're going to be taking damage throughout the course of the game, I thought it'd be a good idea to give yourself as many chances as possible to gain some advantage, because spikes outside of Cobalt Impulse don't have any kind of way to gain advantage. Well, Impicaro, but he's now better, but as you'll see, he wasn't as integral to the part or in his role in the deck. So I played the 6 draw triggers because on 1 count, if I check it, I get the draw, and then it also becomes soul fodder for my soul skills such as Rising Nova and Misery. And it also can be an early game attacker to put pressure on your opponent, which you may have seen me do in my game against LeFunkDoctor.
So good.
And then 2 Double Watch. Our stand trigger. Double Watch is important because it allows you to do your Rising Miracle GB3 turn, the potential to do it with just 2 counter blasts versus needing a whole lot more, especially if you're going for the Misery play. You play it for the unflipping option, and because it feeds you soul, which it helps on your GB3 turn for on that second account of being able to soul charge, so you can keep doing the GB3 and calling out more units from your hand. And definitely, he's going to be super important, especially in the early to mid portions of the game. And yes, this is a man. Because people were confused about that. Him and Acrobat.
Wow.
4 Cheer Girl Tiara, not Adelaide. But if you're one of the people that like Adelaide, more power to you. I prefer Tiara just because I'm kind of sentimental about my cards like that. And
even on her midsection looked like a giant muscle, but that's fine.
She's a robot. What you talking about?
This is all muscular.
Because she a robot.
That one gonna make sense. They got skinny robots. Giant arm for a torso.
Any hoozles. I play her over the other heel triggers because of sentimental value and because it's been with me since I started playing Spike Brothers, I think 4 years ago now. As for the grade 1s, we have 4 Millie, whatever. We have 4 Millie, our charge PG. I use her over Alma because she's a charge unit, and there have been times when I've been low, or I've been getting to the tail end of my GB3 turn, and having her in my hand over Alma has allowed me to get that last attack in to help push my opponent from 5 to 6. And because I have heal triggers and double watching here, I don't feel the need, or as big of a need, to have the unflipping engine in here at the current moment. And so definitely sticking with 4 Millie. And then one of the centerpieces of your big combo, Frog Raider. I used to play 4, now I play 3 because it helped give me space for tech options, and because as I learned through testing, there are ways to get him onto the field without having to feel pressure to have him in hand, especially through Misery, as long as you have the counter blast available. But he says GB1, when a unit with charge is put in the same column as him, if you have a Rising Vanguard, you restand him. And so the big combo on your turn is to stack all your 5k power buff triggers from Miracle Ace onto him. And so every time a charge unit goes back, you give him +5. So if he goes 7, 12, 17, 22, so on and so forth of a booster. And he just keeps getting bigger into perpetuity and pushes your opponent to the brink. Now, this is going to seem odd for now. 2 Acrobat Verde. I played 2 because at the time I was thinking that I would only need 2 to make space for grade 1 options, especially more charge units, because I have, or at the time, going into teams, I had a really huge fear about not having enough charge units in my hand. And so I felt Acrobat was one of the spots that I could cut to get to an optimal charge number. But it's definitely came through for me at the times I needed it to. So 2 worked during teams. It's going to change in the future. Spoiler alert. Excuse me.
Something dying.
Chinese food OP. 2 Moonmaker Nyanrook. Moonmaker, aka Catball player, says charge. While charging, it gets +4. And then when it goes back to the deck, of course GB1 goes back to the deck. You can choose one of your other units and give that +4. The 4K boost is kind of weird because most times you're going to be given something like Frog Raider +4, which can push it over a stage, but at that time you're going to have so many +5 boosts on it that it may not matter. The most times that it does matter is going against anything that may have a cross ride, as rare as cross rides are nowadays.
So dumb.
Still not leaving. The greatest part that he attacks for 11k on his own. And so he becomes a 22k column with a 12k Frog Raider, which is pretty good. And I was like saying Catball player. Now this is new. 2 Medical Manager. This was a late addition to the deck because with the introduction of DGardens, I was and still am a huge, supporter or believer in the first drive Miracle Ace turn. And you'll see this in the advanced video when I break it down some more, but having these medical managers in your deck gives your consistency to first turn Miracle Ace. I worded that weird. This gives first turn Miracle Ace that much more consistency that you're looking for. And so
Misplay bear.
Shut up.
Hey, I got one. You should get one.
And with this being the deck, this becomes your best grade 1 ride, bar none in the deck. And then it makes a nice search option off of Mecha Trainer, who I forgot to introduce. The boy. Everybody knows what he does, because everybody like, oh my god, why does Mecha Trainer get to stay around, but Conroe, he got booted?
Because Kagero has like 4 times more support cards than you do.
Same. And so I definitely keep the 2 in here. And then as for grade 2 options, we got 4 Wink Killer Misery. She is our Ember clone, and she does her job amazingly. And what she says is GB1 on attack while boosting the or when she attacks the Vanguard while being boosted, I can counterblast 1, put a card from my hand into the soul, and call out another unit. And so she's great for feeding soul on the first count. She's a huge part of your GB3 turn because she can turn non-charge units into charge units from your hand. She's great for calling out Frog Raider at an emergency notice. She's great for calling out pretty much anything because your whole deck is your toolbox with Spike Brothers, even though half the time it goes back. And so I play 4. I've been dabbling with 3 spoilers, but she's great, and you definitely want to play a handy number of her. 4 Heave Wheeze. I used to not be as big on Heave Wheeze and chose to go more Cobalts, but as times have gone on, I've learned how amazing he is to have at 4 because the 10k power while charging is amazing, especially during the GP3 turn, because your opponent does not like to see him come down in front of a huge Frog Raider and attacking them for like 46,000 out the blue. And so I definitely want to have 4 because I hope to stack up maybe 2 of these, hopefully 3 of these on by the time my GB3 turn comes around. And so I could just start smacking them down with heavy doses of Darth Vader right here. He's kind of based off Darth Vader if you didn't read the lore.
I don't read Spike lore.
I'm sorry. 2 Cobalt Impulse. I used to play 4 before DGardens came out because he was amazing at putting pressure on your opponent. He's still good at that, but a little less so now because him attacking for 21 before DGardens and attacking for 21 now just means your opponent will be like, G-Guardian, nah, I lost 1 card in my hand, and then your whole thing is negated for whatever. So I play him at 2 just for those matchups where I want to try and put pressure on them with Cobalt Impulse, such as rearguard heavy decks, such as Royal Paladin and whatnot. Maybe a dangerous starter is sitting off that I want to take care of or try to have them take care of. He's great for the GB3 turn because your opponent may have a low hand and they're trying to save it for another attack, and all of a sudden Cobalt comes down, they're like, crap. Or if they're trying to bait me into taking the hit so they can draw and get that last charge in that they need, and so you put pressure on them to react to what you're doing. And this is going to surprise the world to Axe Diver. If you know me and you know what I've been saying about Spikes, you know that I had a huge hate for Axe Diver for being the worst Amber clone in the history of the game.
Not true.
He is the worst.
There are worse Amber clones.
He is the worst in his clan. If he was in a different clan, he'd be pretty good.
No.
My opinion.
DI the Amber clone's pretty bad.
I don't even know what it does.
Exactly.
Well, exactly. It was going to a different video. But in terms of what it does for Spike Brothers, it's limited. It's not like Aberrail, for example, who is a staple 4 of in anything that's Victor, more or less, because of what it does. It kind of gives you 8 Hanks in terms of Victor.
Also, Misplay Bear.
What I do?
You said Amber clone.
Oh, Glimmer Breath clone.
Hey, Misplay Bear!
Wow. And then, so unlike Arboreal, this isn't like Misery Part 2, but it has some uses, especially for your GB3 turn. If you're missing Misery and Frog Raider, you can use him to force a unit into charge state so you can search out Frog Raider. And on the off chance that you can do the skill twice and restand Misery, ask Niece. it's pretty okay. But beyond that, he's another charge unit. And so there have been times, especially in the game against LeFunkDoctor, where this used to be Zachary, and if it was Zachary during that game, I wouldn't have been able to finish the game off the way I did. So he has some niche uses, and he's pretty okay. As for the grade 3s, we have 3 Exceptional Expertise Rising Nova. I know it looks weird that I play in 3. My thinking was that I would either have it or I could use Mecha Trainer to search out Acrobat to be able to net it for me. This is definitely going to change in the future after experiencing what happened at teams. And so what he does is on stride, when he attacks, counterblast 1, put a card from my hand into the soul, search out for anything, and it gets +5. Misery also gives +5. Great for feeding soul. It's kind of strange how... Never mind. I was going to say it's kind of strange how this and Misery are alike, but then I was going to make a Victor comparison, but I don't think it would have worked out too well.
Salt.
But definitely my favorite card in the game right now, and he's definitely going to go back up to 4. 3 Bulldozer Dobe. Just like Heave Wheeze, the power that he gets is amazing for your GB3 push, especially coming off of, maybe you have like the awkward occurrence where you have, say I have Nova in hand in front of Frog, or that I want to put in front of Frog Raider, but I need to have the extra attack go through, so I can call him out, give him the boost. He's attacking for 26, but he also restands Frog for me. And so him attacking for 26 unboosted potentially is great against matchups such as Link Joker for locking me down and whatnot. And so I like to have 3 in here because I like Dope. And then 2 Hive Maker. Hive Maker helps my GB3 turn because he kind of turn, his counterblast cost is like having 2 soul basically. So I can call him out when I use my last 2 soul, and then I can, when he goes back to the deck, I can counterblast 1 and call out the last charge unit in my hand. And he says basically that while charging, when he returns to the deck, counterblast 1, call a card from my hand to an open circle. He's great for some combos, which I'll go into in the next video. As for the strides, we'll start off with 3 Dhampir Lily. She is almost always my first stride because nobody likes to let her hit. because what she does is on hit, choose a card from my hand with charge, put it to the field, it gets +5, and when the card returns to the deck, to the bottom of the deck, I draw a card. What people don't realize that she can also call over units. Excuse me. So if I attack with some, say I have like a 14k column, I attack with that, use her skill and call out something through Nova, they're like, oh, his field is full, he can't call nothing else out, and she hits and now retire the other unit and call another charge unit out. And be like, wait, what? And then they pick up my card, read it, and it's like, so she doesn't need to be in open circle to call, and it turns your charge unit into a filter. So not only do you put a charge in the back, you also draw a card, you may draw a non-charge unit, and you just increase your charge compression. That makes sense. It does to me. 4, Shootdown King Miracle Ace. He is our game ender stride, and so you may wonder why I play 4. I play 4 because on those off chances where I try to go into Miracle Ace to win, and then they hit maybe like three damage triggers, and their Vanguard's only 26,000, and there's no point in continuing the combo from there. And so it gives, if I survive their next turn, I have a secondary chance to go into another Miracle Ace and finish the game off there. And so he says activate once a turn, persona flip him, and he gets red text abilities that say auto, when a unit goes back to the deck, give another unit +5. And then he gets an auto GB3, which is the famous part, I guess, of when a charge unit, or when a unit goes back to the deck, Soul Blast 2, and then call a unit from my hand to an open circle. And so you combine it all together and get the supercharged attacks that you guys may have seen before. Excuse me. I think from here is the one of crew. 1, Flash Bruce. This is likely going to change in the future. I'm not huge on Flash Bruce like some people may be, but he says on hit, put a card from my hand to the soul, search out my deck for a unit, and then give it +5. The reason I don't like this is because I lose that card, and it's not a filter or a cycle per se. It does speed soul, but so does calling out Devil Watch off of Dhampir Lily. So he's a 1-of for now. This may change in the future, but for now I keep it as that. 1, Tiger Centurion from Fighters Collection. He helps lessen the pain of having to call out multiple charge units in the middle part of the game, because I can go into Miracle Ace. I can go into him and activate his skill and then put my charge units back into the deck. Assume my opponent doesn't kill him, because they always love to kill my charge units. And he says that choose up to 5 of my units, choose them, put them in a charge, and the ones that I don't put in the charge, give them +2. I don't like that it gets +2. We talked about this before. I wish it was a little bit more, but it is what it is. Then Great Villain Dudley Picaro. I wish he was a Dudley. Dirty Picaro. He got a lot better with Fighters Collection, and the DGardens coming out. And he says GB3, so you need to have him and then 2 other units in your G zone face up. Counter Blast 2, put a card from my hand to the soul, and then flip up a copy of a G unit card. And then on attack, I can pay the cost. If I do, search out my deck for up to the number of face-up G unit cards that I have. So if I do the skill with just 2 face-up, do his skill, make a 3rd one, I can now search up to 3 units. So it's great for filling out my field. It's great against retire matchups such as Kagero or Narukami if they punch out my whole field and I can't go for the big Miracle Ace turn yet. I'm definitely going to play another one in the future because Kagero is too strong. 1-of Sea Breeze. Everybody should know what Sea Breeze does by now. I don't use it as much in this deck because I don't have as many ways to unflip damage. And so if I have a heal trigger already and they choose to misride intentionally, I'll just hold on to it and then G-Guard and then still go into first try Miracle Ace after that. And then as for the G-Guardians, I have 5, which is maybe strange, but I have 2 Airy. She 20k shield for doing what my deck wants to do, which have less cards on my field than my opponent, basically. I wish we had a Gleam, which would replace one of the other ones, but she's great at what she does. And then, for now, I have 2 Dismal, because it helps me protect Misery, and so I have 2 just because nice to have an extra G-Guard just in case they survive my initial burst and I want to keep Misery around. And it also helps against Kagro shenanigans, Laurel shenanigans, all that jazz. And then one screw, so I have all the draw triggers in here, I can always pitch one to help give Screw his extra power boost or extra defense boost. And it's always nice to have his extra insurance. That is the deck, and hope you guys come back for part 2 when I cover some of the advanced tactics that I go through when I think about the game. Alright guys, until next time, peace, be easy.
Bye everybody.